And I know you've had a rough time over the last few days because Chloe, who's just on your lap there, is a cat who has been really helpful to you, hasn't she?
Yeah, absolutely. I adopted her 5 years ago from a rescue centre, and she was very overweight. She was basically 6.8 kilograms.
Dude, that's heavy for a cat, yeah.
And this cat, she's at a perfect weight now, 4.5.
That is perfect, yeah. And Jack's about the same, actually,
right.
yeah.
And, so it was quite, the way I got her down in weight was she's an indoor cat and not very active.
Yeah.
So I taught her how to walk on a leash. And that was the start of it. And then I realised that unusually for a cat, she was very, she was happy moving through different environments.
Yes.
And that kind of thing.
That is unusual, because usually they don't like to be taken out of their comfort zone. Would it be all right? Sorry, I don't want to disturb Chloe, but could you maybe just lift her up a little bit, if that's right, just so people can see her?
I've got a secret trick. She's been on my shoulder for quite a long time this morning, so I think she probably does deserve a treat.
Oh, definitely. Oh, look.
So, basically, I ended up training her for her health, and that's the first thing,
So that actually helped her lose weight?
Yeah, it helped her lose weight, improved her welfare. And, that's my first concern, is the welfare. The second thing is public safety. The third thing is my needs. Now, the thing is that because of how she is, I ended up taking her on the bus, taking her on a train, and this kind of thing. And then I suddenly realised, hang on, this is a hell of a lot easier than it used to be when I didn't have Chloe.
Tell me why it was tough for you, Ian.
Well, I'm autistic. I didn't realise I was autistic until, I got my formal diagnosis 2 years ago at the age of 49. And up until that point, it was always a mystery to me as to why I didn't quite get the same enjoyment out of things that other people did. Going to a supermarket is a good example. I would go into the supermarket, be completely overwhelmed by the environment, and I would leave with nothing or leave with one item. And it was really unpleasant, and it would take me time to recover.
And that's not most people's experience.
No.
That is very difficult. So
and it's difficult to explain to people as well.
Yes, indeed. Although you've done a good job just there. I mean, it's and you've had that all your life. Obviously, that's always been something for you. So how did things change when Chloe started coming into the supermarket with you?
I think what Chloe does is she acts as a focal point. So I can focus on her, and it means I'm not distracted by everything else that's going on.
I'm distracted by Chloe, I can tell you, because she's incredibly cute.
Yeah, absolutely, she is. She's the cutest cat in the world. She's a very special cat,
Of course, How do people react to her when they see you and her in the supermarket? They presumably go, hold on a second, there's a cat.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. The majority of people, I'd say 99.9% of people, are bemused or pleased. Of course you get, in 4 years, we've had one man that decided to move railway carriage because he had allergies, although he did stay in the carriage for 15 minutes before he moved.
Right.
And then there was another gentleman who just didn't like the idea that I had the cat.
Right.
On my lap on the train.
Wasn't happy with that.
And he wasn't happy with that. And I think the trouble is that I think generally we have a perception of cats that is actually quite outdated. People believe that cat allergies are worse than dog, when actually the latest research points out that dog allergies are more difficult to diagnose, and that's responsible for the apparent imbalance.
Okay.
And it's interesting, of course, we go pubs now and they're sitting under
cafes and all sorts of places. You see dogs there, wouldn't bat an eyelid.
Absolutely. And it's that, and people expect Chloe's sitting on my lap. She's crept down again, but maybe I'll treat her again. Okay. But she's sitting here, she's nice and peaceful. When we go out and about, she's on my shoulder, she won't move from there.
She's moving now because she's seen another treat.
Absolutely.
Sorry.
And I'm
totally in love with her. My goodness. So tell me, sorry, I just want to get to the heart of this as well. I mean, when you were in Sainsbury's and your local Sainsbury's, what happened? Just talk us through, because you'd been in loads of supermarkets previously with her, no problem whatsoever.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, I'd even been in other Sainsbury's without trouble, because I messaged them on social media, on Twitter, prior to visiting Sainsbury's and saying, I'm going to take my cat. Is there anything I need to do? And they said, no, you should be fine.
That's very thoughtful of you. Yeah.
Well, I do do that with most places. We've been to like 100. Well, we've been to over 200 places, and you know, people welcome her. And you know, but I went into this particular Sainsbury's in Clapham Common, and they, you know, a few moments into my shop, and I security guard suddenly appeared and went, "Out!" And I said to him, and she's a support animal, you know, I have a disability and she supports me. She's allowed. I've spoken to Twitter, Sainsbury's team, and they've said it's okay. And he just wasn't having it. I suggested he go and speak to the manager. He went away, came back very quickly, and said, "Manager
clearly not a long
no."
conversation. Yeah. Well, actually, let's give Sainsbury's their due here. I have a statement that they actually gave to Sky News when they said, Sainsbury's spokesman said, "We want to be an inclusive retailer where people love to work and shop and understand that some of our colleagues and customers may need support in our stores. Sainsbury's continues at the same time safety is our highest priority, and our colleagues are trained to balance maintaining our high food hygiene standards with supporting all our customers who shop with us. We are in contact with the local environmental health team to see if there are ways we can help Mr Fenn to visit our store without compromising this." I mean, the thing that I want your reaction to this, but I follow a lot of cat Twitter accounts, and I mean, there's the Starbridge cat, the cat that's in the Starbridge ticket office. There's a whole account called Bodega Cats. Bodega sort of corner shops in America where cats. I remember the one, I lived in New York for a year, and there was a cat who was always in there, who lived in the shop and would sit on, you know, cans of Coke or sit on. I remember sitting on a scale at one point as well. You see how heavy it was. So, what do you make of what Sainsbury's says?
Well, the thing is that they said that, you know, when they originally sent me an email outlining their no animal policy, they raised a number of points, and all points which I believe I've addressed. And I explained to them the ways in which I had. So, for example, they mentioned allergies, and Chloe eats special food which helps reduce human allergies, and she also has a coat treatment which does the same. You know, and they mentioned behaviour, and Chloe's always on my shoulder; she won't move. So, and their response to that was just to say, "No, we refer you to our previous, you know, position." You know, I find that the fact that they're talking to environmental health interesting in the sense that there is a store in Cardiff that has a cat that visits it, and people held a petition to keep the cat in the store. And the cat, I understand it does walk around the store, and it's okay as long as it doesn't go near any shelves. And you know, so it's kind of like, well, hang on a minute. If they're willing to make that adjustment,
they need to sort out their policy. They need to. You could say they need to try something new today, perhaps on this one. Well, in terms of what Chloe actually helps you with, you're in a. I mean, she is so relaxed. You're just sitting there licking her paws. We can see if you're watching on talkTV. We're in a studio. There are lots of bright lights. This is a very sort of, you know, the computer screens and all the rest of it. How is she helping you? You're talking publicly, you're talking to many thousands of people are listening. Tell me how she's helping you deal with this experience.
Well, the interest, I was thinking about that before I came into the studio, and you know, the interesting thing is that today and yesterday, when talking to people, I haven't been nervous. And that to me is like a complete sea change from years before when I did the odd interview, and I was petrified. And with Chloe on my lap, for some reason it all goes away. And I think it is partly the fact that, you know, obviously I know the topic, you know, autistic people are well known for their special interests, and I think it's fair to say that Chloe is mine. But it's also the fact that she is, you know, she is a calming influence. And I think it's fair to say that any assistance animal, you know, a guide dog, an autism support dog, or a PTSD dog, psychiatric dog, they all offer their owners emotional support. And I think that it's worth bearing in mind, you know, I think that emotional support from an animal shouldn't be limited to people that have a physical disability. You know, and that's my thinking. But I appreciate that having a cat is unusual, but the thing is, I believe I've taken the steps so she is equivalent in many ways to an assistance dog.
Yeah, I think you're right, and it may be unusual, but it's helping you. It's a talking point. I think Sainsbury's need to get their act together, Ian, and let us know what happens, please, if you will, and maybe we'll chat to you again. And thanks to George in Croydon, who says, Chloe was one of the best interviews I've seen about the cat and the condition of Ian. Great interview. Thank you very much indeed.